Long ago, in a kingdom of unmatched splendor, there lived a mighty ruler whose wealth was spoken of in distant lands. His palace gleamed with golden pillars. Jeweled chandeliers cast dazzling light upon his marbled floors, and his banquets never ceased, overflowing with the rarest delicacies. Yet, despite all his riches, the king was troubled, for his only son, the young prince, had grown up believing that wealth was life's greatest treasure. One evening, as the prince admired his reflection in a polished silver mirror, the king sat beside his most trusted advisor. The king said, "My son sees only riches. He does not understand the true value of life." The wise advisor, a man who had seen rulers rise and fall, nodded thoughtfully. "Then let him see beyond these golden gates." The king's advisor replied, "Take him where life is not measured in gold, but in something far greater." The king was silent for a moment. Then he nodded, understanding the wisdom in these words. And so, the next morning, he and the prince set out on a journey that would change the young man's heart forever. They rode for hours, leaving behind the gleaming towers of the palace, passing through the bustling markets where merchants called out their wares. As they traveled further, the paved roads turned to dirt paths, the crowds grew thinner, and soon they arrived at a small village nestled between rolling hills and a flowing river. The prince frowned as he looked upon the simple mud brick homes, the open fields, and the people dressed in coarse fabrics. Confused, he asked, "Why have you brought me here, father?" The king smiled gently, his eyes filled with quiet wisdom. "To show you the meaning of true wealth," the king answered. The villagers welcomed them with warm smiles and open hands. There were no golden thrones, no silk curtains, no lavish feasts, only laughter, unity, and the scent of freshly baked bread carried by the wind. For the next few days, the prince worked alongside them, tilling the fields beneath the sun, drawing water from the river, and sharing simple meals beneath the vast sky. One evening, as they sat around a small fire, an old farmer handed the prince a bowl of rice. With a knowing smile, the farmer asked, "You must be used to finer meals." The prince took a bite and paused, chewing slowly. "It tastes different," the prince said. The farmer chuckled, his voice warm. "Because it is earned, not served. When you plant the seed, tend the soil, and harvest with your own hands, even the simplest meal becomes a feast." The prince fell silent, the farmer's words settling deep within him. Day after day, the prince observed more. The villagers had no high walls, yet they feared no enemies, for they protected one another. They had no golden chandeliers, yet the stars above illuminated their nights. They had no vast treasuries, yet they were never poor, for they shared all they had. As the time came to leave, the king and his son mounted their horses. The prince looked back one last time at the children running barefoot through the fields, the farmers singing as they worked, and the families gathered together, their laughter echoing into the warm evening air. On the journey home, the king turned to his son, his voice steady. "What have you learned?" The prince smiled, his eyes now filled with understanding as he answered, "We have high walls to protect us, but they have trust. We have endless feasts, but they have food that is earned and shared. We have chandeliers, but they have the moon and stars. We have servants, but they have friendship." He paused, his voice softening. "We have gold, yet they have happiness, something no wealth can buy." The king nodded, his heart at ease. His son had finally seen the world with open eyes. True wealth is not measured in gold. It is found in love, in trust, in the simple joys of life. A person with riches, but without purpose, is poorer than one who has little but lives with fulfillment. Those who chase riches may never be satisfied, but those who cherish the beauty of what they already have will always be truly wealthy.